let's go ahead. Let's get into the San Francisco 49ers 7-round mock draft. But before we do that, if you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe and leave a comment down below on what you think of this mock draft. And lastly, smash that bell so you guys can get a notification every time Tyler and I post new content. All right, San Francisco 49ers. Let's start out. They don't have a first round pick or a second round pick, and their first pick is round 3, pick 100. And Andrew Voorhees, the interior offensive lineman from USC, is who we both went with. He did tear his ACL, but Tyler, what do you like about this guy?
Well, so before he tore his ACL, and unfortunately it was in the combine, and with how late it is in the draft, I think you're just trying to find developmental pieces that can contribute, or that you can kind of grow and contribute. And with several key pieces of their offensive line in free agency, just for example, Mike McGlinchey has already left, and so I think getting guys that you can grow and develop to potentially replace these pieces is what you're kind of looking for here. And when you don't pick until pick 100, it's going to be kind of hard to do that. And one of the reasons why he fell on our board is just because of the injury. If he wasn't hurt, he would have gone much higher than this. So that's where going with Andrew Voorhees here was the pick at 100. Then at pick 102, their second compensatory pick to end the third round, Zach Pickens, defensive lineman from South Carolina. Once again, the way Kyle Shanahan's teams win and how their defenses work, beef up the interiors and beef up the trenches. So getting depth there, getting Zach Pickens, guy from the SEC, has gone up against some competition. I think would be a good pick as well. And so they're moving on now to
long and physically gifted. I just think he needs the polishing of solid coaching. So
and that's what you're going to get for guys around this time, especially also then moving on to the next pick. They pick again at 103, Jacorian Bennett, defensive back out of Maryland. Same thing. A lot of potential. You got to work out some of the inconsistencies, but he's a guy. He had a good combine, and I think that this would be a good value as well, especially to several guys of their secondary also hit free agency as well. I think that they can kind of grow and develop him.
No, yeah. I really like what he brings to the table. He's a very versatile guy, and I think whoever's running that defense after
D'Amico
Ryans left, I think is gonna really like using him and moving him around. So next up for the 49ers, round 5, pick 157, Yaya Diaby, the edge out of Louisville. A little bit more of a speed rusher, but fairly productive in what he was able to do. And I really like this pick. Again, after the second half of round 4, you're really looking for traits that you can develop. And I think Yaya Diaby's speed and physicality are very enticing, especially for a system like San Francisco where they're rotating linebackers and edge rushers in and out all the time. So
yeah, and any speed guy that goes alongside or goes opposite of Bosa brother is going to do well in that system because they attract so much attention. Getting to the quarterback as quickly as possible, or at least getting into the backfield, is a guy that they're going to be looking for. So, moving on though now to their next pick 166, Ontavian Wicks, receiver out of Virginia. You're a big receiver guy. What do you like about this pick right here?
He's really hard to tackle. Playing in the ACC, I was able to watch him live against Georgia Tech. I want to say he had about 6 catches for 130 yards and a touchdown. And one of those catches was like a 15-yard crosser that he caught and then broke 4 tackles.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just the way that people fell off him was very impressive. He runs good routes and has really consistent hands. He's just not the most elite athlete for a wide receiver his size. I'm going to say he's about 6'3", 220. And I just think he's going to fall because of that. And I think this is really good value. I think it's another piece to add to that wide receiver room with Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and Jawan Jennings, I believe, is the other guy. But he's a little bit bigger, a little bit more after the catch. It provides a little bit more after the catch. And I really like this pick here at 166. That's really good value for him. So
yeah, well, and that's the thing when we spoke about it, having a bigger receiver like that. I don't think they have any outside receivers that are of his size.
Jawan Jennings is kind of that guy, the wide receiver from Tennessee. It came out I think 4 years ago, but I think Dontavian Wicks is a better receiver than
a better receiver. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
or could be a better receiver than him. So
Yeah.
next up, round 5, pick 175, Will Mallory, tight end from Miami. He didn't have the most productive season, however, one of the biggest combine risers in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really what you're looking at here. Just an athletic tight end that can move around and do a lot of different things. So
Mm-hmm. Well, and if they can develop him and he can turn into a George Kittle light or
yeah,
esque type receiver, then that's absolutely going to be perfect. George Kittle's getting a little bit up there in age and at 29, 30 years old. So developmental piece here, but I think good value considering the situation that the 49ers are in. So
no, yeah, definitely.
moving on though now to the 7th round, they don't pick again for another close to 45 or 50 picks. We end up them taking Isaiah Land, linebacker out of Florida A&M. Once again, here in the 7th round, you're just trying to find developmental pieces. He is athletic, he's quick, a little bit on the smaller side, but can, I think, go in a minimum be special teams and maybe can provide a lot of depth just in case if one of the great linebackers on the San Francisco team goes down.
Yeah, no, I mean, last year I want to say they were playing with guys that they had picked in the 7th round also, I think Isaiah Land could be a good special teamer / backup in the NFL this season. A
Mm-hmm.
little bit more of an unknown playing at Florida A&M. That's a much smaller school than even trying to think of one that comes to mind. Even like Georgia Southern, where I went to school,
Yeah.
much smaller. So I think he's an interesting prospect and has good physical traits. So speaking of interesting prospects, round 7, pick 24, Kayvon Merriweather, safety from Iowa, does a lot of different things well. Kind of played all over, and I think it's just another versatile backup safety option for the 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
I personally like him as a 7th round safety. He's going to be a good special teams contributor, and yeah. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So pick 255 and pick 257. Decided to go on the offensive side of the ball and in the backfield. Running back out of USC. Thought this was just good value. They do obviously have Christian McCaffrey and also Elijah Mitchell, but McCaffrey is a little injury prone, and also so is Elijah Mitchell as well. So adding some depth there. I think Travis Dye could be a good addition to that team. Also keep him in the state. He likes the
yeah,
state of California. And lastly, Stetson Bennett the 4th. We all know Stetson Bennett. He is back-to-back national champion, and they have since signed Sam Darnold
yeah.
to a contract. So I don't know how much I like this pick now.
I actually still like it. I think if you look at it, he is similar to Brock Purdy in a way, and I think if Sam Darnold, I think he's more of a camp body. I think, and he will probably get released if he doesn't, if he's not starting
Potentially.
by the end
Well,
of the season.
Sam Darnold definitely is a guy. He'll be a third stringer if both Trey Lance and Brock
Yeah,
Purdy are healthy.
yeah,
And so, but Brock Purdy with his UCL injury, don't know if he's going to be able to come back. Don't really know actually how his career is going to go and how he can develop. That's a
yeah,
pretty serious injury for a quarterback. And so we'll just have to kind of see. But not too many great quarterbacks in this class outside of the top 6. So, and we just felt with the quarterback situation, maybe they'll address it, and they already have. So we'll have to kind of see how that goes. So, and Stetson Bennett, a little controversial as well. So,
yeah.
but in general, though, it's hard to like and also dislike this draft because they have so many picks. So maybe they can address a lot of needs. But at the same time, though, when you don't have a pick that is double digits at worst, it's hard to really come away from the draft like super excited.
Yeah, and that's to me that was my major takeaway is it's hard to really get behind a draft where your first pick is at 100.
Yeah.
And I just feel this is a one of those drafts it's just this is like your retirement account, right? Like you're not buying like sexy stocks or doing anything. You're just like you're putting the money away in this account so a few years down the road you can use it, right?
Yeah.
And to me that's what this draft is for the 49ers. It's just they're putting money in the bank and they're just going to wait because Andrew Voorhees, once when he's healthy, I think will be a good starter. If they can develop some of these guys, I think that they'll do well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so it's kind of hard to really be like, yeah, like I'm really excited about Stetson Bennett going and pick 7 or round
Yeah.
7, pick 257 or whatever. So it's it is some. It's one of those things where I think we picked the best player available and we filled some needs that they had. So
Well, especially and it's gonna and they've already done this, but their offseason is gonna all the big moves they're gonna make are gonna become free agency. We already mentioned Sam Darnold. An even bigger notice that we forgot to mention, but also Javon Hargrave was signed as well to a
yeah,
pretty hefty contract, and I think he's going to help out that defense a lot.
no, yeah, definitely. So all in all, I still think the 49ers are the favorite to win this division next season. Honestly, their biggest question is at quarterback and who's going to be the starter because Trey Lance
Yeah,
and Brock Purdy,
and
and now you had Sam Darnold in the mix. And so,
honestly, I would say that is a big deal, but I mean that was a question mark all of last year, and
yeah,
like it took a very unfortunate injury in the NFC Championship to like
yeah,
to stop them. So
yeah. And so, all in all, I think we're going to wrap up the San Francisco 49ers there. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on what you thought of this 7-round mock draft and hit that bell notification so you can get notified whenever Tyler and I post a video. And other than that, we will see you guys next time.